Good evening, everyone. Hope all of you are doing well and you are understanding your element 1. And today we are going to start our element 2 for NEBOSH IG. Anyone have any doubt or any question from element 1 from our yesterday's session?
No, sir. No, sir. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, okay. So we will continue with the second one. I will stop my video and I will share my screen. You can see my screen, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Okay, gentlemen. Here we have management of international health and safety. This is our element 2. In this element, we have a very important thing which is health and safety management, like policy, planning, implementation, etc. etc. Okay, the health and safety management system, the first element of the management system is policy. That is an health and safety policy. So what are the learning outcomes of this element? Outline the key elements of health and safety management system. We will learn and we will understand what are the key elements of an OHSMS, occupational health and management system. In short, we say it OHMS, occupational health management system. Explain the purpose and importance of setting policy and health. What is the purpose of setting the policy and health targets, goals, and how to and describe the key features and appropriate content of an effective health and safety policy. Like, what are the key elements, what are the key content, what are the key features of a health and safety policy. All these 3 points, actually these are only the main points, but in these three there are many small points, many different items which we are going to learn and understand in our element 2. So I will continue on that. It's very interesting and important also, especially as per the exam point of view. This is very important. So International Labour Organization Occupational Safety and Health 2001 Safety and Health Management System, OSH, they give us a guideline, and a structure or a cycle is given to us that is known as Pdca cycle. This is identifying and defining that how to implement, how to produce, how to do, and how to identify the benefits of the management system. So we have 4 items here: plan, do, check, act. P for plan, D for do, C for check, A for act. Then it becomes PDA cycle. So we are starting with plan. Plan what you are going to do, like what are our targets, what are our goals, what we set to achieve. That is our plan. Do, then we have to do that, we have to implement that on our workplace, in our organization, in the community, in the sector, with all the parties, employees and other shareholders like client and authorities. That is the implementation phase. The second one, that is very important, and appropriate and perfect implementation can give you perfect result. Then on the third step we have to check. Yeah, what to check? We need to check that what we are doing, is it working, is it beneficial, is it efficient. Suppose we develop a risk assessment. I'm just giving you an example. We develop a risk assessment, and we define, we describe everything, and we communicate this with the site employees. But even we have an appropriate risk assessment, but still the accidents or the number of incidents are being raised, being arised. What is the issue of their raising, or the raising of the number of incidents? Maybe we fail to identify some of the hazards of the workplace. Maybe we fail to count them during when we are making the risk assessment. So that is the check procedure. We need to check, is it efficient, it is working, is it beneficial or no. Then act is the last stage. Then we have to act accordingly. Do we need to suspend the operation? Do we need to change the procedure? Do we need to change the manpower? Do we need to change the technology? Or whatever the recommendations, after checking what are the recommendations that are given, and then again the same plan, do, check, act, the cycle is working. So this is the basic circle, and it's very important. Now we have the contents of health and safety policy. The first item is policy. The second is organizing. The third is planning and implementing. The fourth is evaluation. The fifth is action for improvement. The then we are going to audit, and that is the total structure of health and occupational health and safety management system. Policy, organization, planning, evaluation, and action for improvement. Action for improvement is a part of evaluation. When we evaluate, as I explained you in the Pdca cycle, when we check, then we recommend, we give the recommendations, improvement opportunities, non-conformance reports, whatever is there. Then after evaluation we are giving that, and these are again implemented and organized in proper manners to make the workplace safe. So the main four items: policy, organization, planning and implementation, then evaluation. These are the main contents of OHSMS, or the safety management system. So what are the key elements here? Number one, policy, organizing, planning, evaluation, action for improvement, audit. The system should be developed over time to ensure continual improvement. Any procedure, any plan, any system, when we implement, we need a regular updates. Updates as per the changes in the legal circumstances, updates because of some big adverse weather, new changes in technology, new changes in manpower. Then we need to keep it updated. So here we have policy. What is the policy? Policy is a clear statement of commitment to health and safety. This is the management commitment for an organization, that these are our goals and targets, and we are committed with the health and safety of within the organization. This is the basic and very important thing, and this is a legal document. It's always signed by the senior management, so that everyone will follow the directions and the guidelines and the objectives which are given in the policy, in the occupational health and safety policy of the organization. So number second is organizing. It's very important. Organizing is the distribution of roles and responsibilities for health and safety. Like, who is responsible to do that? Who is responsible to implement health and safety? Who is responsible to develop the OHS plan? Who is responsible to develop the job health safety analysis? Who is responsible to develop the risk assessment? Like the roles and responsibilities. Who is responsible to give training? Who is responsible for inductions? Who is responsible for workplace safety? Everything in this part, organizing, it's a clear and concise distribution of roles and responsibilities at all level of the organization, from the top management to the employee level, up to the individuals. Like, who is responsible, everything is described clearly in this section. The next we have planning and implementation. The third element details arrangements to manage health and safety, the risk assessment. And then we have evaluation. Evaluation is the method to monitor, to check the benefits, to check the effectiveness of the arrangements which we put in the workplace. Action for improvement, steps for correct issues, steps to correct the issues found in the review. When we review, we found some issues which are not addressed properly, which need further improvement, which need further work, arrangements, resources, etc. That is the action for improvement. Then we have audit. Audit is the independent and critical examination of any system. It's of the documents. Audit can be from the documents, and audit can be of the workplace in the organization at any level, to check the identification, to check the effectiveness of the management system. So here we have question: what is the key elements of ILO/OSH health and safety management system? We just discussed these. This is the policy, organizing, planning, evaluation. This is our key elements. Element 2, purpose and importance of setting policy. Why we set health and safety policy? Now we discuss them separately. What is health and safety policy? Why we set, why it's written? Because it's an important document. It identifies and defines the foundation stone for good health and safety management in an organization. It sets out the organization's aims. What is their aim? What are the objectives? It identifies who is responsible for achieving the aims. It shows that how the aims to be achieved, the path, the methodology, and it's specific to each. Health and safety policy is specific to each and every organization. Every organization have their own health and safety policy. It cannot be similar. See, if you are working in a bakery, the health and safety policy is different. If you are working in an infrastructure project, it's different. If it's a building, it's a little bit different. If it's a manufacturing unit, a shoe factory, or any industry like that, the health and safety policy is differs. It have many changes. Yes, Nasir.
सर मैंने आपसे ये पूछना था कि ये आपने जो कहा है कि कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी में और लाइक दैट ऑयल एंड गैस जैसे अरामको है, कोई भी कंपनी है, इसमें सेफ्टी मतलब डिफरेंट टाइप की है, तो हमारे लिए ये रिस्क असेसमेंट सेम ही होगा या इसके लिए भी कोई डिफरेंट टाइप के लिए अलग से
Yes,
कोर्स
yes.
करना पड़ेगा?
I got your question. The process of risk assessment should be same. It's the same. We are using a term ERIC PD, evaluating the risk, deciding who may be harmed. So the process of the risk assessment is same, but the activities are different. So we need to check the control measures as per the activities, and we need to check the hazards as per the activities. The process will be same, but the activities will be different. Right? Nasser, is it clear?
यस सर, आई
Okay.
अंडरस्टैंड.
Yeah, the process of risk assessment will be same. The points and the steps involved in the risk assessments are same for every industry, for every work, but the activities are different. Suppose if we just give an example of an infrastructure project, we have confined spaces, we have excavations, we have road work, where we have more movement of heavy equipments. For the compaction, for the paving work, for the lifting work, we have more. But if we work about the building, that is also a part of construction. In building, there is very less movement of the heavy equipments. Right? There is no, we don't need to think more about the heavy equipments because we are only using cranes, but there is not much movement of the equipments like compactors, wheel loaders, dozers, shovels, etc. etc. They are not moving. So the activities are different, but the process of risk assessment should be the same. Okay, why might the health and safety policy of two organizations be different? Why isn't there a prescribed one size fit all approach developing a policy? Yeah, this is a question which is coming on the minds of many students. Why the health and safety policy of two organizations different? The fact is, every organization have their own structure, they have their own characteristics, they have their own activities, they have their own goals and targets, they have their own aims. That's why it must be different from each other. Why we cannot make a specific or a prescribed generic risk assessment, generic health and safety policy for every organization? We cannot. Why? Because of their activities, their procedures, their nature of work, their technologies, their manpower. Just to give an example, I am working as a consultant. My organization is a multinational organization. We have contractors, the contractors have subcontractors, subcontractors have again subcontractors. There are some companies, some organizations who are only working with 10 peoples. There are some organizations who are working more than 50,000 employees. So the scope of the work, the nature of the work is different, than the policy cannot be same. That's why we have different. Now, why have a written policy? It's a legal requirement that health and safety policy must be written to meet the management system standard ILO OSH 2001, OSAS 18001, which is shifted now, which is transmitted to OSAS ISO 45001. It's required that health and safety policy must be written, and it must give a clear communication. Just for example, we have 50 people on our workplace, and I tell to the one person that these are the 6 points which we are following verbally, which are the parts or the content of our HSC policy. Maybe when he communicate the 6 points, he forget one and he add one. So 2 points will be different. And maybe the second person he communicate with another guy. So what he did, he changed 3 points up and down to avoid the mixing, to keep it clear, strength, to keep it in the same words, to keep specific. We need to have a written. It will give you a clear communication, and if you have a written document, then you have a chance, then you have a time to update it, you have a chance to improve it as required, as per the legal changes, as per the contractual changes, as per the international changes. You can make the improvement. And so why as an organization's policy is important, why might two organizations doing similar work have different policies? Yeah, the first question we already discussed, to show the management commitment to set the targets and goals. It's very important, and it's a requirement by ILO, international organization, and it's a requirement by ISO 45001, occupational health and safety management system. And companies are bound to do to ensure that the health and safety policy is written and signed by the senior management. That is the first question. The question two, why might, yeah, it should reflect the particular circumstances of the individual organization, the hazards and the risk, the size and the complexity of the organization. Because of this, the organizations similar working have different HSE policy. If I just give you an example, for example, on my current project, I have 6 contractors on my project, and all 6 contractors doing the same job, but all have some differences in their occupational health and safety policy. This is up to the management and up to the organization structure, their internal management system. All these things are deciding the health and safety policy, content and the nature. Here we have element 2, key features and content of a health and safety policy. What are the key features? The first, statement of intent. What's going to be done, like this, their aim and objectives. This is the statement of intent, what we are going to do, what we have to do. The second is organizing, who will do and how to do. That is our arrangements, section 3. And then statement of intent, we just describe it, setting overall aims and objectives of the organization. Like, what are our target to get 0 accident, target to get 0 fatality, target to get 0 LTI, 0 lost time injury, target to minimize the first aid cases, target to minimize the sickness of the employees, target to minimize the insurance payment, the compensation payments. These are the overall aims and objectives of the organization. Then complying with law, they need to develop a policy because they need to comply with the legal standards, the country's local legal standards and the international standards. Achieving the standards reminds the workers that remind to the people their responsibilities, because we are describing and distributing the roles and responsibilities. So the health and safety policy defines and reminds them that you are responsible to do that and not to do that. And signed and dated by the most senior person of the organization, regular review of the organization. These are the parts of the statement of intent. So here we have group discussion. Targets may be included in the statement of intent to show commitment to improvement. What targets could be included? General example, anyone can tell me that what should be the targets which are written in the occupational health and safety policy? Anyone, any 2 targets which you can mention, anyone? But I have just explained to you the statement of intent, the objectives. What are the objectives? You didn't understand that? To reduce the sickness, to minimize the insurance payments, minimize the first aid cases. These are the objectives, general objectives of the organization. Anyhow, here we have a structure, and this structure is an organization section. This is a section which you can see a diagram which start from the senior management. This is blank, because in every organization we didn't put any data, because we don't want you to be specific on that. In some organizations the project manager is the senior person, in some organizations the senior project manager is there, in some organizations the project director, in some organizations the managing directors, in some organizations the CEOs are sitting on the top. Anyway, but this showing that how it to be done from the top management. From the owner it started, and then it's going to the senior manager, to the middle managers, to the group leader, to the team leaders, and up to the job performers. This is different in every organization. So outline the chain, how it starts. It let me make it big so that you can. Okay. Chief executive officer of the organization, then health and safety directors. Then on the third point we have health and safety managers, the project based, and then they are giving reports and they are giving feedback to health and safety management committee. then the site peoples, the supervisors, the engineers, the health and safety officers, health and safety engineers, and the job performers. These are the part of the organization section of an organization, like starting from the project managers, and under the project manager there are two sections. One is construction managers, the one is safety manager. Under the safety manager there are different people: safety engineers, safety designers, safety trainers, and the safety officers. Under the safety engineer, again safety inspectors, safety supervisors. Like it depends on the organization how they set their designations. So this is an example of organization chart in any organization. Okay, in organization section, what the organization is doing, they are defining and allocating the roles and responsibilities. The CEO of the organization or the managing director of the organization, they are ultimately responsible and accountable for all health and safety arrangements in the workplace in the organization. They have the responsibility of managing day to the management which is based on project. They are responsible to manage the day-to-day activities. The employees, they are responsible for their own to act as safety. The competent persons, first aiders, fire marshals, they are responsible to give immediate aid, first aid treatment, and in case of fire they are responsible to evacuate the employees from the building or from the area. These are the competent persons. And the specialist health and safety practitioners, safety engineers, safety officers, safety advisors, safety coordinators, they are responsible for providing advice, and they are supporting the management. They are advising them to check the design, is it safe. They are advising them they need to hire such people, they need to bring such equipment, they need to use such safety controls on the workplace so that they can their workplace safe for the employees. And then the arrangement section, we just remain 10 minutes in our session. Okay, the arrangement section, it describes how the things to be done, how all the steps, how all the targets and goals to be achieved. Detailed description of policy and procedures, usually long document. Yeah, it's a long document, it's a complete document, it's like a OHS plan, often separate from the policy, unique to each organization. Every organization have their own, because they have their own scope and own work environment and own organization chart. And in the arrangement section we have example like carrying out risk assessment, information, instructions and trainings, compliance monitoring, accident near miss records, record of incidents, record of near miss, record of first aid cases, sickness record. All these are in the arrangement sections. Welfare to the employees, firefighting equipments, firefighting facilities, welfare facilities, and emergency procedure in the organization. These all are the points in arrangement section. And here we have individual activity. Can you think of any other specific health and safety hazard? Write down as many as you can think which I believe you should include in the arrangement section. Guys, if you can think, you can write something what you think need to be there in the arrangement section. Send to me on WhatsApp, send me in email, or you can raise your hand and talk during the session as well. And as I cleared you yesterday, anybody have any question, any doubt, feel free to ask me. I am here to answer you any of the question, any of the doubt during the session from yesterday, today, anything you have, you feel free to ask me anytime. Okay, here arrangement section, specific risk and problems. Like there are some specific risks which are available at every workplace. It's lone working, someone working alone in any work environment. Maybe he is working in the building, infrastructure, confined space, excavation, in a machine, or in a hazardous area. Lone working is a specific topic and it's a specific problem. Then noise, vibration from the tools and equipments, from the movement of heavy equipment, using of hazardous substances or the store of materials, chemicals, control of contractors, transport risk, waste disposal. These are the typical and specific for every organization. Then reviewing of the policy, some reasons for the review. Why we need to review the health and safety policy? Because we need the first thing, it's a legal requirement to review it. In some areas 6 months, or you can say need to review it yearly. That is a requirement of legal standards, that you must review health and safety policy. And if there is a changes in key personals, like the management of the organization changes, you need to review the policy. If the management structure get changed, the ownership change, the process, like how you are developing or you are completing your task, the process get changed, you need to review the health and safety policy. If there is change in legislation, changes in technology, like before the people are doing the job manually, they are excavating something, they are digging the earth manually, but then organization bring a big excavator for them, then they need to review the health and safety policy and the risk assessment procedures. And if there is more incidents in the organization, if there is an enforcement action taken from the authorities against the organization, they need, if some authority or the internal or external audit conducted in the organization and the auditors found that the health and safety system or health and safety on the workplace is not as per standard, they need to review the policy. If there is a big accident happened, and passage of time, like annually, need to be reviewed. These are the reasons why we need to review health and safety policy in an organization. So next slide is International Health and Safety Policy, Article 14 of Recommendation 164. As yesterday we discussed about ILO recommendations. Recommendations are the clear guidelines and definitions and the instructions to perform the job. So Article 164 requires from the employers that employers to set down in written the arrangements for health and safety management where circumstances warrant it, in a readily understood language. Yeah, it should be in a easy language, it should be in a generic way that everyone who can read, he can understand. Like there should not be used some specific terms or some difficult words or the sentences which makes it difficult, because the policy need to be communicated to each and every employee of the organization, from a worker to the manager. Everyone need to be communicated the health and safety policy. So it should be in written, it should be clear, concise and specific. And then we have end of section quiz. What are the three key parts of health and safety policy? The general statement of intent, organization section, and then the arrangement sections. These are the three main important and the typical parts of health and safety policy. The question number 2 is, what is the types of targets might be reflected in the policy and where? Yeah, what accident rate need to be reduced, the achievement of zero LTI, achievement of zero fatality, the reduction in compensation payments, making the more workers turnover, workers trying to stay long in the organization. These are the examples of the targets and objectives which need to be mentioned in the on the HSE policy. Anyhow guys, today's session is done. That is our last slide. So anybody have any question in any slide, in any topic, feel free to ask. Anyone have any question, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay guys.
No, sir. No, I have any question.
Okay, that's
No,
fine.
sir. Thank you.
Okay, if everyone is clear, then we, yeah, then we can quit our session now, and tomorrow we will start. We will try to start at 7, inshallah. Okay, guys.
See,